If you're not being mentioned in ChatGPT and other AI models, your firm may go extinct faster than you think. We're joined today by Howard Brewer and Berta Merikanskas from Newsroom PR, who you may remember from prior episodes, to share the strategies that are getting attorneys mentioned in ChatGPT and other AI models. Howard, he's a CEO of Newsroom PR and is a former award-winning journalist who now helps attorneys build credibility and secure meaningful press. Several of our clients use his services and they're really happy with Newsroom PR. And Berta, she's also a seasoned PR specialist at Newsroom PR. She brings a ton of deep experience in leading global agencies and working in-house for Fortune 500 companies. Together, they've built one of the most effective PR systems for attorneys, and we're thrilled to have them with us today as we dive into how AI is reshaping discoverability, how consumers find attorneys, and what law firms can do to stay ahead in this ever-evolving AI marketing space. So, Howard, Berta, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Thank you for the invitation, Hugo.
Yeah, of course. So let's get into it. So Google, namely Google search, has been the gold standard for how consumers find anything: movie times, recipes, gastroenterologists, their lawyers. Tell us how and why AI search is changing the way potential clients find attorneys and law firms.
Before we continue, a quick note and the only break you'll hear in today's episode. Most attorneys know they should be reaching Hispanic clients, but very few do it well. That's where we come in. At Abogados Now, we build authentic Spanish language campaigns that actually get you more cases and grow your practice. So if you're looking for a new way to get more clients, book a call with our team today at abogadosnow.com. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Yes, but the bottom line is you do a Google search and you get an answer to the question. When you do an AI search, you can solve a problem. You can have a dialogue with it, and it's going to enlighten you, inform you, give you 3 or 4 pages about what to do next. And more people are catching on to that and getting excited about it.
Yeah, that's I totally agree. Everyone wants the answer, right? And it sounds like no one just wants to do their due diligence with a bunch of website listings and a bunch of maps listings. So if you're a law firm owner, like let's say I'm a law firm owner, walk me through this. What do I need to know, and how do I use? Tell us about what you're doing with clients, right? With your attorney clients who you're successfully placing in ChatGPT responses as a way to hedge against the shrinking Google search economy.
Right. So the cool thing about this, let's say you're an immigration attorney in Santa Ana. You can do a ChatGPT 5 search and say, who are the top 5 immigration attorneys in Santa Ana?
Right.
Now, one thing, when you do that on Google, it might be a biased outcome, because if there are certain competitors of yours who are paying for Google ads and such things, those particular firms might be more likely to come up, whereas things like Google ads don't really impress the ChatGPT. So the first step, are you on that top 5 list? And for discussion's sake, if you're not, the second question can be, well, why aren't I on that list? What can I be doing to get onto that list? And that's where the beauty of this really opens up, because the ChatGPT is going to give you maybe a 3-page explanation of, well, these other firms are getting ranked by this place and that place. They're doing more PR. They're doing more public speaking. They're in the news doing this.
So it's like a new layer of SEO, basically. So, and I'm curious. So, Berta, it sounds like PR is so fundamental for these rankings to happen. So, Howard, I like that example, top 5 immigration attorneys. Berta, how do we get GPT to say, to get the firms actually mentioned in this? What are the practical steps? And it sounds like PR is a pretty critical thing behind all this.
The reason why PR comes up so much is because it creates exactly the sort of authoritative content that AI is looking for. So if you're working with a PR team, they might be booking you to do an interview on CNN or Univision. They might be writing a column for you for La Opinión, for the New York Times. This generates the authoritative content that you want linked to your name. And that's precisely what AI is looking for when looking for answers. You can go a lot deeper too, as well. And yeah, as Howard mentioned, you back engineer it, right? You see, first of all, who is ChatGPT picking up? But you can go into very specifics on your area of expertise. And say for Latino clients, if you're a lawyer targeting the Hispanic community in a certain state, you can see what comes up. In the case of PR also, in addition to media appearances, PR also creates opportunities to, lead seminars, lead webinars, lead talks in churches and schools, where particularly the Latino community are focused. And that's what throws the results in AI.
Got it. So I remember in the early days of SEO, late 90s, early 2000s, everyone was trying to stuff keywords at the bottom of web pages. Everyone was trying to, get on let's call it the easy to publish Forbes articles. And there's all these hacks, getting on Reddit forums and tweets, and there was all these signals, right, that we had to gamify and engineer to, always somehow be relevant in search. Aside from PR, which sounds like a huge effort, you guys have the whole business built around just one channel, which is massive. What other signals are let's call it ChatGPT? I know we can't speak to all LLMs, but what is ChatGPT looking for in addition to PR so that, law firms can get recognized in those responses?
Well, I think it's a combination. As Howard was pointing out, there was once a time where SEO was the only way to get placed in results for searches. Now with AI, if you're doing a combination of both, you get a really powerful result because you can work with PR and through other efforts to get that authoritative content and be considered a third-party expert for the AI searches, but you still have the SEO that's helping with the backlinks and the algorithms.
Yeah. Can you walk us through an example of an attorney who said, I really want to see the results of this work? What's a timeline for onboarding someone into the strategy of focusing on LLM results? Can you walk us through what that service looks and feels like?
Honestly, I don't have an exact timeline for you, but I would suggest that within as little as maybe 3 months, 4 months or so, one can see the results change depending upon, keep in mind, you start asking the right questions and you're going to potentially get 3 pages of suggestions, 10 different ideas. And are you doing 2 of them? Are you doing all 10 of them? Some of them take a while. For instance, it might ask you to get case studies from clients talking about this and that and give them to this service, and things that just don't happen in the snap of a finger. But I feel like, especially with the media, I mean, if you suddenly go from having no media exposure to 10 or 15 different types of placements in as little as a couple of months, and yes, we can do that, that can move the needle quickly.
Got it. So that sounds very similar to just standard SEO practice. You have to wait. You have to produce a lot of work, but you also have to wait. And so, what are the challenges that you're seeing right now? I know this is all very early, and I know that you guys are still working out and still trying to figure out discoverability and LLMs. Like, what's been the most surprising thing that you found in this journey of essentially this kind of new service line, if you will?
Yeah. So one of the things that we discovered early on, the AI thing is kind of funny because I think half the population thinks, oh, that thing is stupid and it gets things wrong, and it's not reliable, and I don't want to be bothered with it. And the other half of us think it's on its way to getting so smart that extinction is around the corner and inevitable. And we're in this very strange place in between. But one of the things I started saying early on is like, well, isn't this great? With Google, it's so heavily influenced by these SEO tricks that you talked about, and who's paying more for Google ads. But the reality is that the results that the ChatGPT can spit out can be very biased. They're talking about is ChatGPT 5 supposedly less sycophantic, telling you not what it is, but what you want to hear than ChatGPT 4. And it's like, maybe it is, but it has these 6 other problems. But what we noticed, like when we did a search on ourselves, I'm signed on to ChatGPT 5.0. I've asked it, 30 different things, a lot of them about my company. In the past couple of weeks, if I were to say, now name me the top 10 legal PR firms in the country, what I noticed is that, or even the top 5, that Newsroom PR would rank in there. But part of what was happening there is that ChatGPT is thinking, oh, I know what he wants to hear, which is kind of creepy because it's not human and it's not supposed to say that or think that. So what you do is you go into a totally different browser, Safari maybe, and you don't log in to your account. I'm a stranger, Chat doesn't know me. What are the top legal PR? What are the top 5 legal PR firms in the country? And you get a totally different set of results that know you. You might not be named in there. So I would say, do that as well as part of your search. Make sure that there's absolutely no thumb on the scale.
It sounds like the PR signals are the most authoritative, the most credible. And when I talk to other attorneys who want to dabble in PR, they not always, but most of the time they're so bearish and they're so gun shy about making a real investment in real publicity that they default to these low domain authority websites that, frankly are just article farms, click farms, and they yield not many results, if at all. Meanwhile, there's investment and time behind it and effort. What is the actual level of PR quality that's required, or article quality or publication quality that's required for not just LLMs and SEO to show up, to show your firm, but to actually influence the public? I'm curious, aside from being a talking head and cable news and being on the Times, what are the other avenues that most people don't think about, when they're really serious about making that kind of investment?
Well, one of the things I like about this process is, again, if you're an attorney and you come to me and I might say, look, you really need PR. It sounds kind of self-serving. And if I say, we'll get you placed here, you get you placed there, a lot of PR firms are just naming the places where they have friends. Not, it's like what's easy for them, not necessarily what's right for you. Whereas the ChatGPT will get very specific and say, you should be placing articles in media outlets X, Y, and Z that are in your backyard. And again, it's looking for a lot of the same things that a potential client would be looking for. They want to see if you're quoted in Los Angeles Times or on Univision or
Yeah, I'm wondering, Berta, if you could speak to that, like what are like the trending publications that are, not just influencing search and results, but public opinion. Like what's trending right now where people need to start thinking seriously about investing in real PR, not just these shortcut PRs.
Absolutely. So if I can just take a step back,
Sure.
because I thought I saw a statistic that really got my attention. Latinos make up 20% of our country, and only 5% of media appearances are Latinos. So
Mm.
I think that even if we even go back to the basics, representation matters, and law is not the exception at all. And from what I see with journalists that I work with every day, um, the public and the media are really hungry for diversity. So first of all, it's a really great opportunity for Latino lawyers. That's on one hand. On the other hand, the Latino community also is different from mainstream in that they still embrace legacy media very much. So television, radio is still huge in the Latino community. Of course, then there's the different outlets that Gen Z is looking at. So you have things like Remezcla, Me Too, BuzzFeed Pero Like, that you have to board. But if you have a good PR team in place, they know who to reach in the right way and in a way that resonates. What we do that's interesting is that we cover both. So yes, we definitely work very closely with the Latino community, but we also bring Latino voices into the mainstream and elevate that knowledge and expertise.
Got it. Got it. So you mentioned these digital channels like Me Too, Remezcla, like these are great outlets, and they tap into like the non-traditional audience, if you will,
Correct.
right? So right now, are you seeing that, when we look at like West Coast Trial Lawyers, one of your clients, and so like they have a very omni-channel approach where it's digital and traditional. Are you guys defaulting to most of your attorney clients saying that you need to be both traditional and digital to get scale, not just about SEO and LLMs, but just to be in the public conversation?
Yeah, I think part of what we do, we have a very bespoke approach. So it's not only a matter of, according to statistics, you should be digital here and this there. I think it also goes to how the client wants to be known, who they're trying to be promoted in front of. For instance, we have one client who really wants to be known in the TV and internet space as an innovator. So getting him a lot of digital stuff, a lot of tech things are very important. Then there are we even work with some of the big mediation firms in town, and they will just want to do columns in places like Law 360 and Daily Journal that we ghostwrite that, showcase their arbitrators as thought leaders in different areas. And, really at the end of the day, a lot of what it's about is just creating familiarity with your target audience.
Yeah, that's great. And I listen, I know we could have expanded on this for like another hour. In fact, there was like a corresponding like screen share here, like a slide deck that I know we didn't go over. However, would love to offer this to download for anyone watching this. Is that cool with everyone here?
Sure.
Yeah, so we'll offer a direct download to this Google slide deck that shows how discoverable are you on AI and why this matters. Want to thank you, Berta and Howard, for your time today. I know lots to unpack here. This is both a technical but also cultural conversation, and we want to continue it with a more technical part 2 here. So we'll make that happen. Hopefully, you guys are interested in that. And for everyone who's watching, thank you for joining us, and to the team for producing another great episode. Thank you very much. Until next time.